So in Medisoft 20, you're going to go to Tools, and under Services, you have two options here for ICD-10. Number one is to set up the ICD-10 version. So this is if you want to do each insurance company when they're going to be expecting ICD-10. This does nothing but a flag if you don't do it. So when you find out the certain insurance company already, you can come here and say, all right, I want this insurance company, that insurance company. I'm just going to select them all for here for now. And I'm going to do that I want ICD-10 as of today, so I can show you what it does. Okay, so as of today, I'm going to set up all those insurance company to expect ICD-10. So I'm going to do that. And it went and updated all those insurance company to be ready with ICD-10. So if you want to see what that does to each insurance company, all it did is if I open an insurance company and I just went to the option of codes, so over here it's ICD-10 and it has a date. If I change it to ICD-9, I don't get a date. Do not leave it without a code. It has to be 9 or 10. Otherwise, if you do it this way, if you print a paper claim, you're going to have a problem with the new form. So you need to be either 9 or 10. I'm just going to cancel. I'm not going to save for now. This just to show you what it does. Then I'm going to go back to the same tool. And now I'm going to map the codes for ICD-10. So what is the instruction is here? What is this basically doing? It's going to, I have two different type of mapping. I have one-to-one mapping, I have one-to-many mapping. So I'm going to go to one-to-one mapping. And what does this tell me? That this code is going to become this code one-to-one relationship. So this one is very simple because I can do select all. And if you own codes on disk, you probably have about 16, 17,000 codes. If you map them all, you're going to get about 30, 35,000 codes in ICD-10. Depending on what specialty you are, it might not be enough, but it's going to be plenty for most people. If it doesn't bother you to take everything, now I don't have a lot of codes here. This is going to take a second to do it. If you have all the codes, it might take you 10 minutes to map it. And there are two different categories of mapping. I'm just doing them all. I'm going to hit create. And what it does, what it did is it takes all those codes, map them to my ICD-10 for me. Now, if I move to ICD-10 mapping, over here I have this code becomes two codes. So this is the one-to-many mapping. Now you will have a lot more code than this. This is one code became 7 codes. One code becomes 2 codes. So I can just, because I don't have a lot, I'm just going to take them all for you. Once you map the code, this list will get empty. So you don't have to do them all at one time. If you do them a little bit at a time, as you come back, you're going to see the ones that you did, they just disappear. So I'm going to create that. So now this list, once it gets mapped, it's empty now, and this list is empty because I didn't really have a lot of code. So where does codes go? So those codes go when I go to my diagnosis list. They are here. If you have not noticed, you have 2 buttons here, 2 checkboxes. I have ICD-9, so this is all my ICD-9, and this is my ICD-9 and 10. If I turn this off, I will get all my ICD-10. Now, you might have some codes that might have ICD-9 and 10, but they're repeated twice with the description ICD-10 empty. What does that mean? That this code in ICD-10 description changed, that's why it would be listed twice. One without description, because the description did not match, and one with description. So if I can sort here by description, so right there, you see that the different codes. Now, if I open one of those codes, I will get to see here that this is my ICD-10 code or the current code. This is what it was in ICD-9, and this is what it is in ICD-10. Now, if you create what people say, what is that copy? Okay, so if I so what is that copy? So if I cancel out of here, and let's say I'm entering my own code, I'm making this up. There's no such a code. So if I do XYZ.00, And if I type here that this is a test, and now I'm trying, there's no ICD-9, so I'm just copying this here, and in ICD-10, it's the same thing. You have to have all of this filled in. I'll show you why in a second. I'm just going to save this here. So I just created a code, and now the reason that why you have both of them, because when I'm searching, you're able to search by description, and I have a couple type of description here. So I have my current code and description. I have my ICD-9 code and my ICD-10 description, 9 description. I have my ICD-10 code and ICD-10 description. So what does that mean is I can actually search by ICD-10 description as I'm typing in. If I just type the word pain, it will show me uh, any ICD-10 that has the word pain in the description. So it finds it for me. Of course, you depending on your specialty, you will be searching for other things. So that's why we have all those different sections for the code, the 9 and the 10. Now, so this is how simple it is. Now, I highly, highly recommend that the physician is not depending on the biller to do the code mapping or to do the actual code translation. The physician needs to tell the biller what code to bill. The physician doesn't have access to Medisoft at the time of service, so I highly advise that you get a mobile app. Use it for iPhone or iPad or iPad Mini. And the reason that I'm saying that is because if you do it on an iPhone and you start, using the iPhone while you're treating a patient, then somebody might think that you are texting families or friends and you're not paying attention to them. By using an iPad Mini and or an iPad might look more official and the screen is larger, the patient will get to see that what you're really doing. Uh, so I go to the iTunes store, search for ICD-10, and look at the rating. I would recommend something called Precise University. They have training courses, and they come up with uh, a mobile app for the smartphone or the mobile app. I haven't used it so far. I From the training that I got from them, it looked like they did a great job. So I'm assuming their app will be good. I have not. I need your feedback. So please, if you download it, it's only $8. It's a one-time thing. If you use it, you like it, let me know. If you hated it, let me know. So this way, I will pass around the information. So let's go and see. So what my vision is, if you are treating a patient and you want to tell the biller what to bill, at the time of service, you can look, maybe you want to search by description, maybe you want to search by ICD-9, translate it and see what equivalent ICD-10. Then when you give it to the biller, it should be ready for the biller to bill. You don't want your biller to search for coding mapping or coding equivalent. Your documentation has to reflect the code. So that's another reason why your biller should not translate the code for you. If the biller is able to translate the code, I keep saying she, could be he or she, uh, there most likely is going to be unspecified. I don't know for how long. If you bill unspecified, you will get away with it. The reason for ICD-10 is that we're billing more specified codes, and if you keep billing unspecified, you might get paid in the beginning, you might not get paid at all. So don't take that chance. Let's build the right way. So let me just show you how it works in the transaction entry. So I set up all my payer that ready for ICD-10. So I just picked a patient at random here, and because the old code that I used with ICD-9, it automatically came and did a red flag here. This red flag does nothing but tell me that you told the system that this payer or this insurance company is ready for ICD-10, and you are billing ICD-9. So if I change that, now I can just go and push my F6 key and search for my ICD-10. So I'm just going to take anything here. And so now if I save this transaction, the red flag went away. It's not going to stop you the way you're sending. So now, billing ICD-10 versus ICD-9 is nothing more than the code. It's sending the claim itself. As long as you're using Revenue Manager, if you're not using Revenue Manager, you better stop and call us. We need to upgrade you to Revenue Manager because sending claims with what's called print image, it will not be compliant. You might have a problem. So please, please make sure you're sending Revenue Manager. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you probably don't have Revenue Manager. When you are clicking Send Claims, you should see a banner that says Revenue Manager. And the Revenue Manager is the NC 5010. A technical name for it is an 837 ANSI. So that's the proper way of sending the claim. If you sending print image, you might have a problem. So don't think that because you have version 19 of Medisoft or version 20, that's all you need to do. Is sending the claim method is also important. One more thing I just want to point out is when you print claim on paper. So if I print a claim on paper, anytime that you see the 212, that's a new format. You probably used it by now, but in case if you haven't used it, let me just go over a couple of things. So if I print this claim on paper, this is the new form. You will obviously see a few things that you probably have not seen before, like the barcode. And the more obvious thing on the claim is that I can have 12 diagnoses. So let me address the 12 diagnoses. Notice there's a pointer here. The pointer now is letters. So my 12 diagnoses will be listed here. Now let me just make sure everybody understands this. You can have 12 diagnoses per claim, but only 4 diagnoses per transaction or per line item per CPT code. What does that mean is the whole claim, if the whole visit can have 12 diagnoses, but each CPT code can have maximum of 4. So if you try to send more than 4 on the same CPT code, you will have a problem. First of all, on paper, there's only room for 4. Second, on electronically, if you have more than 4, you're going to have problem with the scrubber and with the electronic claim. So don't fall into that. Don't think it's a myth out there that you can build 12 diagnoses, but that 12 diagnoses is only for the claim. Each CPT code is only 4. The other thing I just want to show you is how to turn on your Medisoft to have more than 4 diagnoses, because by default you have 4. So if you go to File and Program Option, and under the data entry section, I'm not going to put 12, I'm just going to give you 8 for now. Okay, so when you go and do the billing, let me go to the same patient. So now I have places for a diagnosis. So now if you have more than 4 diagnoses, make sure you turn on the flags here. So you will be turning on the flags you want, and the next line could have 4 different flags. Do not change your diagnosis here to be different. Otherwise, they go on different claims. So each one of those lines, they need to be symmetric. Then with the flags, turn on and turn off the ones you don't want. And if you have to send it by paper, this is the way to send it. Thank you so much, and that's it for the ICD-10 mapping.